I was in what? I was in sixth grade,
Yeah,
2013. I was sixth, seventh grade when GTA 5 dropped. I'm
right.
about to exit high school,
Yeah,
and we're still on the same game.
yeah.
So, I would really, really love a GTA 6 sometime soon.
Alrighty, man. Welcome back, my podcast people, man. I told y'all I was going to have a good guest for you today. It is episode 15, man. I am glad we are making all these numbers are going higher and higher, man. I'm glad we're keeping it consistent, trying to get you all these podcasts, whether I have a guest or not. But I know y'all been waiting for a guest. Based off the view numbers of the other podcasts, I know y'all been waiting for a guest. So we got an excellent one for you today. We got Mr. Collin Hatfield, Mr. TBT. He's here to tell you all about what he is and what he does. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Collin.
As Cam already said, I'm Collin Hatfield. And I run a basketball page called TBT, stands for the Bucket Team. And I just try to analyze basketball, connect with people, just do it in a positive and fun way. So that's what I do.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. Tell us a little bit about that TBT brand. I know you had kind of a plethora of different pages with the TBT brand. What does that actually stand for again? Does it stand for something like an acronym?
It's TBT stands for the Bucket Team. And
Okay,
it's actually
gotcha.
something I came up with, and it wasn't supposed to turn into this. It was just a name for an intramural basketball team I had in seventh grade. So it
Gotcha. All
was just
right.
the name of that. And then it's just something I kind of stuck with because it's catchy.
Right.
Three
Yeah.
letters, it's really easy to slap on anything. And
Perfect.
so
Yeah.
when I was going into the process of thinking I wanted a basketball page, I was like, okay, this makes sense. It's a quick,
Yeah.
easy name. It's people remember it, it's catchy. And yeah, that's kind of where that stemmed from. But just getting started into what I do, I guess just watching a lot of basketball
Yeah.
in a sense. So just watching a lot of basketball, breaking it down, learning how to edit, that was probably the toughest part.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me about that basketball kind of journey. When did you get interested in basketball, like in general in your life? Was that around 7, 8? Was that earlier than that? I know you played some basketball. Did you ever play for some teams? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I'd say I started the first time I watched basketball that I can remember, I was around 7. So it was the
Mhm.
2010 NBA Finals, Lakers versus
Gotcha.
Celtics, and
Okay.
yeah, that's just kind of the marquee moment I remember starting watching basketball, and
Right.
then
Right.
growing up, we grew up at a time where we got so many different legends in the league. So you got your
Yeah.
LeBrons, your Kobe's, your KD's, your Steps, your CP3s. So
Hmm.
just being able to see all those guys play almost night in, night out for a decade now, just got me hooked. And sitting down with my dad and watching it, sitting down with my brother and watching it,
Yeah.
learning the X's and O's, trying to get better myself so I could eventually beat my brother,
Right.
one-on-one type stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, just trying to get better in general. But yeah.
Got you. Yeah, yeah. This is for those returning podcast watchers. This is the brother of Philip Hatfield. I did a podcast with him a couple weeks ago. So if you definitely want to go check that out, but finish this one first, and then you can go check that one out. But yeah, so I think that's super interesting that you were interested into basketball and you kind of got into the Instagram space. What made you um what compelled you to create an Instagram or to create any of your pages? I don't know if TBT Talks was your first page. I don't know if you had like a shoe page or if that came after. What
Yeah.
kind of compelled you to get on Instagram or social media in general and then kind of spread your knowledge?
Yeah, the shoe page came after, then it
Oh,
flopped,
okay,
and
got you.
it was bad. But um, just getting into it, ironically, I have a friend, and he was like, "Yo, dude, we should make a page together, and we should
Hmm.
talk about sports."
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know how it started. I just made the page,
Mhm.
and it never became a shared thing. So it was just kind of
Okay.
my thing, I guess. And I
Right.
just kind of ran with it over time. But yeah, he was like, dude, we should start a page, talk about sports. And I was like, yeah, I was like, great idea, we should do it. But I guess
Right, right.
along the line, the communication between us fell off in terms of that. We're still cool to this day,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so that took it off. And this, I think TBT Talks is like the first official basketball page. I think I had the
Okay.
name for my personal username, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, I
kind of,
remember that.
yeah, yeah.
Got you. Okay. Alright. Hmm. That's a little bit of history there for y'all. I didn't even know that. But yeah, I for people that follow me on Instagram, I am always posting this guy's page when he makes I can't keep up. That man is posting almost every day now because of the playoffs, and it's great to see the content, man. I definitely love the thing that's different about your content, I feel, is that it's when you give us content, you're giving us the full breakdown. You're giving us a whole bunch of content. You're letting the viewer kind of sift through it, and read and pick out what they want to be informed on. And I really do like that. We'll get into later. What I feel. I'll talk about your vision for what you feel you will do with this brand in the future. But
Hmm.
I think it's just interesting what you have going now. I think it's super interesting. Um, let's see. Well, actually, the the first topic I have on my list here for you is the whole social media and your view on the future for this brand. And so I guess the number one question is, how do you feel that social media has helped you in the Instagram light and other lights kind of grow your brand? And what kind of strategies were you using to grow um, pretty quickly? Colin grew his Instagram from basically zero to, I don't know, 1,200. I don't know what you're at now. But that's most or a lot of people might be like, "Oh, that's not that many followers." To grow that organically from a new page without coming from like a mass following is very good. Very, very, very good. And I definitely could not do that. I kind of gave up before, I tried to grow that organically, and I don't feel that it was my target audience. While I probably still will try again, having seen you do it successfully, I just wanted to know where your head was at in terms of the social media game, and what were your strategies to achieve what you have achieved. All right.
In this way, I'd say we're very alike in the fact that once I see and want something, I put my head down, and I'm just
Well,
trying to go and get it at
yeah.
whatever it costs I can. So at the start, man, it was texting people asking for shout outs. It
Yeah.
was researching the tags, trying to grow, the
Hmm.
tags under every single post. Um, just texting different people, the follow for follow stuff, the like for like stuff.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you go back to like the beginning, you will see certain posts that have no comments related to basketball activity. It's
Right,
just
right.
the
It's just
follow up for the follow for follow. So
right, right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it I guess in a simple it was all really simple. I just because I mean I wasn't the smartest in terms of the space,
Hmm.
but just doing the simple things that I knew that could make me better, and then asking someone like you,
Hmm.
asking other people that knew social media better than I did helped me a lot. And
Right.
another thing, in terms of social media, I guess I love it and I hate it at the same time because I've been able to, you know, contact with people that work at ESPN, um,
Oh, wow.
talk to big accounts with like 17K following, people that
Hmm.
really know the game, like really, really nice stuff. I was psyched
Wow.
one time one of KD's friends actually liked my post. And that was for me, that's crazy
Dang.
because KD's my
Wow.
favorite player.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's real hit or miss because you'll have moments like that, and then you'll have moments, where something you've worked on so hard flops.
Yep. Yep.
There's been projects where I sat writing this thing out for a good hour, editing it.
Yeah.
Took a long time to, like you said, I tried to give the full breakdown,
Yeah.
everything, all the knowledge, the stuff that I had into that project. And then I
Hmm.
look up, it has 23 likes.
Right.
Like
Right.
that,
Right.
that's part of the highs and the lows that come with it.
Yeah. Definitely, man. I think that's just the woes of a content creator in general. As you've heard, just listening to the podcast and me having personal conversations with you, I've definitely had ups and downs like that, where
Hmm.
it's just it like even my most viewed video on my KX gaming channel is something that I threw together in probably the same amount of minutes as the video, which was like 3 minutes. And it had 6,000 views, 7,000 views for no reason. And the stuff that I spent, 10 hours on has 55 views. And
Yeah,
so that can be tough, but sometimes you got to take the breaks where you can get them, and that's where you just have to draw your audience from. But I didn't even know that you were in contact with some people with that worked for ESPN or that were in contact with them. And I didn't know the thing about that. Katie's friend liked your post. That's crazy, man.
yeah.
But I think you talked about something here that I want to touch on. You said that you spent well, you're all about giving the full breakdown. You're all about writing things out, letting people read, probably 2 to 3 pages of detail about whether it be a playoff game, whether it be a single player in the league. And I want to get your thoughts in terms of, do you see a future in switching to another platform to better deliver that content? And um, what platform would that be for you?
Oh yeah. Um, Definitely. I've already jumped over to TikTok
Mhm.
just because you've got 60 seconds. You got to
Right.
make things quick, and it's not
Mhm.
as hard as doing the work for IG.
Right.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, you can still deliver quality content in under a minute.
Mhm.
But I think the big jump is YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, just you know, especially with basketball and someone that's as detailed as I try to be, it's
Mhm.
hard to,
Hmm.
Instagram, you're scrolling. You want to
Right.
get something, you want to get it quick, unless you're super deep into the content I create.
Right.
You're just moving. You're
Yep.
seeing what you're seeing and you're going.
Mhm.
And for a minute there, I was posting 10-minute IGTVs on
Right,
Instagram.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's going to be very hard to find people that will consistently watch it and
Exactly.
watch the full thing.
Yeah.
So just getting over to YouTube, I'd say, because if you get over to YouTube, you're there for short-term content as well, but you're finding long-term content for the majority of your creators, at
Yeah.
least in some form, some way, or some fashion. So switching over to that, allowing myself to be detailed, talk a little bit more, um, show off some of the editing, because like
Yeah.
I think personally I've come a long way in that,
Oh,
because I was
yeah.
posting raw photos and
Right, right, right,
using
right.
the
Yeah,
Apple
nah.
tuners on pictures. So yeah,
Right.
trying to show that off a little bit. But yeah, I feel like YouTube is really the big jump.
Got you. Yeah, I think you'll definitely be able to make a smooth transition, especially once you get, a little bit more equipment. And, I think that'll help with your production a lot. But I've definitely noticed um, a huge jump in quality over the years, that you've had to account, or I don't know how long you've had to account, but over the amount of time that you've had to account, I've definitely seen a huge jump in quality. With the backgrounds, with the intro music, with the logos. I was like, man, this is like, I need to get stuff from you. Like, I need to get some of these Instagram templates from you to make sure that I can post that um, when I, get back into Instagram. But I think you would definitely thrive on YouTube. People are there, like you said, to watch that longer form content. And I think that's where your content strive. I think that's where you will um really be able to kind of break through and succeed. And a lot more of your target audience will find you on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I mean, I am excited. I'm excited for you to see you make that jump when you are ready. But yeah, man, social media, hmm, social media is crazy in our generation, and definitely always good to see somebody taking a good use out of it, or making a good use for it. So one question for you here before I wrap up this topic here. For in terms of TikTok, how do you feel how do you feel about the platform, and what has been kind of the ups and downs you've experienced on the platform? I noticed you haven't uploaded a whole ton of TikToks, but I know you were saying, it is a little bit easier to do than Instagram. What's your kind of game plan for that, or what have you been kind of looking at there?
For me, I guess it's like an internal battle between
Right.
just going the easy route and like sometimes doing what I've been doing, just putting the picture and talking over it,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
or actually putting stuff in there, editing it, taking a little bit more time to work that out and
Hmm.
break it down. Because either way, whenever I try to talk something that makes sense. Something that the people that consume my content can understand or even try to learn from.
Yeah.
But on TikTok, also one of the battles I feel I'm fighting is it's a lot of trolling on there.
Oh yeah.
People
Yeah.
that negativity in a way, negativity and trolling is how you grow for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You
That
could
is
say
tough.
one stupid thing, one crazy thing that no one's expecting, and you put it out there the right way and you're famous for good now.
Right, right.
I literally know people that got big off of trolling, and
Right,
I'm
yeah.
sitting here looking at this dude or his content like, yo,
Like,
this
yeah.
this guy's not even
Right.
putting in a lot of work on this stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess it's just kind of that battle, of pressing lines, but at the same time trying to stay true to what I've been doing from the jump. Because I'm not a
Right.
troller. I'm not. I've
Yeah,
tried to
yeah,
take the hate out of my
yeah.
content because I never hated on people, but there was certain posts that were a lot more negative than others, and I just
Right.
try to take that out. But yeah, TikTok is nice. I think it's a really extreme app. You have
Yeah.
good you
Yeah,
got
man.
two sides and there's no middle ground on TikTok. It's just like
Right.
you're wild or you're not. So, just fighting that battle and trying to stay true to myself, but still putting out really good content is what I'm kind of working through right now.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's gonna be a battle, excuse me, for a long time, for you and me. I think TikTok is a platform in which it's a blessing because it allows you to get your content out to more people, but it also has a lower demographic or a higher demographic for younger kids. And
Mhm.
so, those kids are not always taking content seriously. They're on the app to laugh, and, they're going to comment stuff, to make them laugh or that they think is funny. And it's like, I get that's the nature of the app. But once you get to that target audience where you're only on the For You page of people that want to analytically break down the game of basketball, I think that's when you'll really catch your stride. And I am guilty as well with um, just not even posting it. Not. I mean, I know TikTok is easier, technically easier than YouTube and all those things. But with me, I want to make everything a production. So I'd be editing in my actual software that I'd be using for a YouTube video, and then doing all that kind of stuff, and then sending it to my phone. And so it's still basically like creating a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So it still takes time and effort, but trying to get better on that and just kind of take clips that I get on stream and put a face cam to them and kind of just put them out there because that's what other people are doing and it's kind of working. But I also want to like have a specific niche in what I want to put on TikTok so that people are coming to my page for a specific kind of content.
Mhm.
And yeah, just fill that void that may be there on TikTok in terms of missing content.
Yeah.
But in terms of, Mr. TBT is all about the NBA. So I think it's only right that I ask you a little bit about your opinions on the playoffs, man. Give me a partial breakdown of number one, who you see going to the finals. And then number two, give me a breakdown of your favorite player, which is, we've already heard is KD, and his team. Give me a breakdown of the Brooklyn Nets.
All right, so this is probably going to be quick because the two answers go together.
Yeah, right,
you know,
right.
yeah, more than likely, I see Brooklyn. I see Brooklyn going out of the East, and I see right now I'm gonna go with the Suns out of the West. I just think
Okay.
those two teams have the best mold of a championship team.
Hmm.
Brooklyn, they're not your prototype finals team because a lot of people question their defense, their rebounding, a lot of the physical aspects of the game that it didn't look like they had. But
Right.
they locked in, they got it done, and now they're beating probably the most physically dominant team left in Milwaukee. So
Yeah.
doing that shows that they can win in any environment, which to me is an indicator of a championship level team. And
Right.
then Harden goes down, so they're adjusting on the fly. That's
Hmm.
that's indication of a great team and a winning team. The Suns, they just got a deep team, so many pieces. They're great on
Hmm.
both ends. They're more your traditional basketball team. You've got
Right.
a leader, you've got your point guard and Chris Paul,
Hmm.
you've got your shot maker and Devin Booker, you've got great defenders surrounding them, you've got a good young piece in DeAndre Ayton, and yeah, they just look really good. But now to answer your second question, um, just to break down to KD, it's just the stuff he's doing right now to me is insane. A lot of people I thought kind of started to slide him out of their top 10, top five,
Right. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
saying this guy was better than him or he wouldn't be able to accomplish this year, and
Hmm.
to go out and have a historic scoring season in the way he did, and crazy efficient, knocking down shots, come in the playoffs, dominate the first series. Harden goes down, and everyone said Harden was the most valuable player to the team. So in
Hmm.
my mind, I'm thinking, if you think that, you must not think that they're going to win
Right, right,
because
yeah.
now that he's down, KD picked up the slack, Kyrie as well. The rest of the team's been hooping, but to
Yeah.
be up 2-0 on Milwaukee, I just think even I
It's
didn't
crazy.
expect that. So
Yeah.
just to turn up like that was impressive to me, especially being a fan and not seeing him hoop in the playoffs in 2 years. Man,
Right.
I
Yeah.
missed it, and it's great to see him back.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a good take, or at least an interesting take. I am not well versed in basketball. You know that. But I definitely did put some doubt on KD's name just because I hadn't seen the greatness that is, his ability to play the game of basketball. I just hadn't seen it. I had seen it in the Warriors. 2016. We won't
Yeah.
talk about it. But I I was like, man, I don't know, man. He's hurt. I don't know if he's gonna come back the same. I know what he was doing before that, but is he really gonna? Is he still one of the best players in the league? And he's definitely put up the numbers and played these games to basically prove me wrong and prove those that didn't think he was going to come back nearly as strong wrong. So I appreciate that take for us, man. We got a
Yes,
professional
sir.
analyst, man. I don't know. I'll have to put this. I have to put this podcast up on my story when by the time you become a professional you know sports talk girl on ESPN and
Yeah.
broadcast is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, got a hot take for you. A little interesting. I know
Okay.
you're kind of into the UFC, you're into the fighting here. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this whole collaboration with these YouTubers coming into the boxing scene. I know it's not specifically UFC, but what do you think about this collaboration with these, YouTubers coming into the boxing scene? It's becoming a more regular occurrence, and then also, what was your opinion in the Floyd versus Logan Paul fight?
um. Oh man. First off, with the Floyd. and Paul fight.
Yeah, yeah.
It was atrocious.
Fair
You
enough.
know, at the same time, there was a little entertainment in there. You saw Logan get that flurry of punches off,
Right.
and you could tell it wasn't really affecting Floyd, but nonetheless,
Mm.
it was just the hype because he's finally touching him, but
Right, right,
because
right,
dude couldn't land a
right.
punch the rest of the fight. But
Uh,
the build will always be really good to these fights because it has to be. Um, I think business wise, it's smart.
mhm.
From a fan's perspective, I would never buy one of these. We
Got you.
still
Okay.
watch it. We got our ways, but
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Of course.
we got our ways, but I don't know if I'm actually ever gonna buy a card like that. I just don't feel
Mhm.
like the quality is good enough to
Okay.
spend money on. So
Mhm.
yeah, from a business standpoint though, it's smart. You're
Right.
taking two worlds that are both highly profitable and you're stacking them up against each other. You're
Mhm.
bringing people from YouTube that have no clue about fighting, no clue about boxing, no clue about UFC, and they think
AKA me.
sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes they may not understand that this dude is about to fight someone that's been more than likely training this their entire life.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
likelihood of them winning is small, but that YouTuber's fan base does not believe that,
Facts.
and no way do they think that their guy's gonna lose. So,
Uh,
you know, either way, you're bringing in hardcore fans, you're bringing in fans of fighting that don't like these YouTubers
mhm.
and that are gonna tune in because they want to see these dudes get messed up.
Yep.
So even in a negative way, you're still gonna bring eyes to what you're doing. I
Right.
just I just think somehow after this kind of era goes on, you got to find a way to bring first the legitimacy back to it,
Mhm.
because boxing years ago was a top sport.
Yeah.
Now most
Yeah.
people don't know about it until
Mhm.
these YouTubers came in and
Right,
started
right, right.
highlighting these guys. So you got to give
Yeah.
the YouTubers their props,
Right.
but you got to bring the legitimacy back, and then
Mhm.
these guys got to start getting paid as well.
Right.
YouTubers are drawing a 20 million bag off of
You're right.
one fight, and some of these dudes,
Right.
there was a UFC event a couple of months ago. It actually went
Mhm.
on with the Askren Jake fight. It was on the
Okay.
same
Yeah,
night,
yeah. Yep,
and
yep,
they're
yep.
pulling in millions. And the guy that won that fight only got 145,000.
Yeah.
So, and he just main evented the UFC pay per view.
Right,
So,
right, right.
obviously there's something wrong here. So those are
Mhm.
probably there's ups and downs to it, but you
Right.
know, I guess I'm kind of neutral because it's got its goods and its bad. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I think that, number 1, I'm for it because it is a colliding of worlds that necessarily it's a colliding of one world that I was very interested in and it was heavily invested in, which was the YouTube world. But to see them box people, it's I gotta say it, like, it's just fun to see these guys get knocked around, like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just I just wanna see it, and I wanna see who's gonna win, and, it's tough because, like, in that Floyd versus Logan fight, I'm like, "Yo," if he comes in here with 4 years of training, and knocks Floyd out, I don't know what the professional boxer fans are gonna say. Like,
Exactly.
my my
Yeah.
thing is like that's gonna sell. The internet would have been broken, and that would have been the craziest thing like known to man for a minute. But like you said, I think it brings money into the sport, which I think is good. Inherently overall, I think it brings casuals to the game as in or to the sport because I don't see a lot of casual people just watching the UFC. Um, at least just not to my knowledge, and it's bringing people like me in that I would never really watch a fight just because not necessarily because I don't like the sport of boxing, but because I have no history of the people that are fighting. So if I
Yeah.
wasn't involved in the sport, then I wouldn't really know. Um, I wouldn't really know those people and I wouldn't know the history and why they're fighting. So
Mhm.
I would relate it to the NBA and the fact that you have these big names in the NBA that people know outside of, the NBA. Like if you don't watch the NBA, you still know LeBron James, you still know
Yeah.
Chris Paul, you still know these people, right? And that's what kind of draws the casuals in. Oh, I want to see LeBron James play. Let me see KD
Exactly.
play. Let me see Steph, Curry play. And that's what draws your casual. So for the boxing arena with these, with these YouTubers, that's what's going to draw the casuals in. And as we've seen right now with the millions and millions of dollars kind of being poured into these fights. But I get it. I get it. There definitely needs to be some legitimacy to the sport because I can see the disrespectful part in terms of the sport and in terms of the long term fans, and then also the people that have worked their entire lives to perfect this craft, and now they're getting paid 20 to 40 times less, than the people that have trained for 3 months and are just getting in the ring because they have,
Yeah.
millions of followers. So um, I think it would be interesting to see. I think that Logan Paul and Jake Paul, hot take that they will be fighting for the next 6 years. I think they'll be fighting for the next 6, 7 years for sure. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I wanna see as they become better boxers. I want to see who they actually fight, and if they become legitimate in the actual sport. I think that's gonna be crazy for some people, and I think we're gonna see some upsets here. I don't know, man,
Hey,
but
6 years is a long time to become good at anything.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I I never expected him either of them to win any of their first fights. I still feel like that Ben Askren fight was thrown, but we're not even gonna
Right,
go
right,
into
right,
that.
right.
But you put time into something for 6 years and you're truly dedicated, which
Mhm.
even though I'm not the biggest fans of them personally, it seems like
Right.
they're putting the work in.
Mhm.
They don't look like they just walked out of the street, or
Right.
just throwing hands. They
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like they've put time in, they're working. So 6 years, who say
Yeah.
by the end of that they can't start knocking some of these guys off?
Yeah.
Um,
What I'm saying, 'cause
I think it's
that'll be
definitely
10
a
years.
possibility. Yeah,
That'll be 10 years by the time another 6 years, because 'cause they've already been working for 3, 4 years. 6 years, that's 10 years of training. That's 10
yeah.
years of fights, or another 6 years of fight. So yeah, man, I'm interested to see it. And I think that like I said, I think we'll see some upsets and people will actually start to respect them. The one person, I mean, I think I don't know. Logan will have to fight somebody pretty. He's gonna have to fight somebody that I really want to see him fight again for me to buy another fight from him. But Jake Paul, I'm buying any fight this man fight
He's
until he
wild.
loses. Until he loses, I'm buying any fight this man has, bro. Because it's just kind of insane, man. The whole he either he keeps getting lucky or he has a little bit of skill because these people, he is just showing no mercy. Like knockouts left and right. Obviously, you can say that, some of the people that he even before Ben Askren, weren't professional boxers. They weren't, they didn't really know how to fight. But to be fair, Jake had the same amount of training as the guys that he was knocking out, you know?
Yeah,
So to say, oh, you're not really a good boxer because you didn't knock out a professional boxer was like, well, dude has at that point he had 2 years of training. So what you want him to fight Floyd Mayweather at 2 years of training? Like, come
yeah,
on now.
yeah.
So he's working his way up the ring. I think it was smart to fight to take the fight against Woodley to work it up and not to go straight for Floyd. I don't think Floyd's gonna fight him. After this fight, I think Floyd. I mean, he personally said he was done, but um, I think working it up to Conor McGregor fight is what we are really looking at here.
I think that's both of their
Yeah.
ultimate goal, the
Yeah.
Connor fight, because
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah.
If they were pulling in 20 for a Floyd fight,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think they might pull in a little more with a Connor
Really?
fight. I don't,
Really?
because Connor's an attraction, man.
Yeah, but
Just
I
being a
mean,
UFC
okay.
fan,
Mhm.
some of the biggest pay-per-view buys ever have had him headlining cards.
Right.
So yeah, he brings in a bag and he brings in lots of fans. So that
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think it's possible.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all for it. Let's see it. It would be great if we see it by December. I would be down after he fights Woodley, hopefully he gets that bag, he wins. go to Connor's team, I think we make it happen. But we'll have to see. Man. We'll
Yeah.
only time will tell. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I think I'm gonna still keep buying these things. I don't really spend money on anything. I probably should be spending money on clothes or something. But I can throw 50 for a fight that I will get a good night of entertainment, good night with friends. So no,
Yeah.
it's no problem for me. But one question here for you in terms of the grind and in terms of where you at now with social media and what you're trying to do, what do you wish you had done different um, that you felt could have contributed to better growth over this time,
Mhm.
or just things you kind of messed up and wasted a lot of time on?
That's a good question. I guess I haven't even thought too much about, but some things I would have done differently. I guess maybe my whole approach to it in terms of the consistency of the content.
Hmm.
I wish if I was going to be doing the longer videos and then some were posts, maybe I would have rethought that. I think
Right.
it's good to have a variety of content, but some of it, like scheduled, planned, people know ahead of time,
Hmm.
and some of it I wish, because at least for me, even now, a lot of my ideas are boom. It comes up here, I
Yeah.
put it in this big thing I have on my phone, this notebook thing I have on my phone,
Yeah.
and it
Same
goes
here.
into a list of ideas.
Uh-huh.
And if it's good enough, it comes out. If
Right.
it's not, I scrap it for a later date, might work on it. But
Mm.
I wish, sometimes I would just sit down and say, hey, this is super hot right now. You got to capitalize on it.
Right.
Like
Right.
me
Right.
and my brother were talking, and it was around last year. I covered the finals. I dropped 2 videos on it, but
Hmm.
at the same time, it probably should have been one every day.
Right.
Small things like that, because
Yep.
you never know. You're
Hmm.
And this is another thing that absolutely made me so upset. When I was starting out, my best engagement will always come on LeBron videos, and I'm not a
Right. Right. Right.
LeBron fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
have
Right.
so many LeBron fans that follow me. It's just the way it happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it seems like, do you wanna buy in with this, capitalize on the engagement you have. But I think
Right.
I was just a little too stubborn. I was like, no, I'm not gonna allow my best content to come off LeBron. I'm not doing that. But it
Ah.
was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
silly in the end, because it's just like either way, you want to get that growth. You
Yeah.
want to capitalize on important events. And he's someone that it draws attention, he draws
Yep.
viewership, etc. So yes, I think for me it's nothing big, but it's a lot of small things, like
Right.
just a bunch of small decisions, little things I would have tweaked going back. Um, my knowledge of social media, I wish I would have learned more before getting on the space.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Arguing with people that you could tell clearly are just there for the troll and don't know
Right.
anything about what they're talking about. And
Yep.
I'm sitting up here having an argument that lasts 20-30 minutes with them. That I think in the end that just makes me look bad as well.
Hmm.
So just like I said, just a bunch of small things I wish I would have known going back from the jump.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I think that in terms of, well, number one, in terms of getting to know the social media space better before you jump in, I think that's going to be a desire of everybody. It's always going to be, I could have learned more, and it is tough, um, because you just don't know the right way to implement it until you actually go through the learning process. And so
Yeah.
people that, even just in my position, when I tell people, "Hey, this is the way you should go about it," they're like, "Nah, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna do it." Like, that's great, man. I hope you succeed in that. But it's just things that I know they'll kind of come around to and realize once they've been in the space a little bit. And that was you, when I told you about the longer videos, I was like,
Yeah.
hey man, people on
He's
Instagram are not watching 10-minute videos, man. So you
yeah.
got to put it into more digestible content. You did, and I think it's a lot more
Oh man.
digestible for those people that are interested in the content that you want. Um, but like I said earlier, yeah, that transition to YouTube, I think, will be huge for you in terms of growth.
Yeah.
But I think also in terms of you just being proud of your content, um, and getting to see the analytics of how long. I don't know if you can see on Instagram, but to see the analytics of how long people are actually watching the videos, and where the inflection points of the videos are, where they really enjoying most. How am I keeping that viewer retention rate up? So things like that. But yeah, man. So I got two little topics before we wrap up the podcast here. Then we always got to have our cam cheat code of the week. But they're kind of free, open topics that I know you're interested in, and I just kind of see where your head's at. So the first one is video games. Number one, would we ever see any TBT 2K content? I don't know. Will we ever see any 2K content from you? And then the second question with video games is just what are you playing right now? What's your interest?
yeah, I'll tackle that first one first.
All right, all right.
Maybe, maybe.
Okay, all
I feel like
right.
there's room to implement it.
Mhm.
Going to YouTube would probably be where you see it,
Right,
because
right, right.
sometimes I don't know. It's sometimes for me, it's nice to be able to just talk. I
Right.
don't need to edit over something, and who
Yep.
knows, I might play some 2K behind it, or
Mhm.
go live and just talk. Just
Right,
talk to
right,
the
right.
people that are viewing my content.
Mhm.
So if there was a way to see it, that would probably be what I'm thinking right now. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah, that kind of makes the most sense to me.
Right, yeah.
Secondly,
Fair enough.
video games are like they're in a rough spot right now,
Yeah,
really
I
rough,
agree.
dude.
I
I've been
agree.
playing the same game since the start of quarantine, so
Got
it's
you.
I'm telling you, since the start of quarantine, I've played the Modern Warfare 2 campaign like 15
Wow.
times. I know
No
this.
way. That's
No, I'm
crazy.
dead serious. I played it so many times. I played this. I got so bored. I went back to the GTA campaign. I'm playing that through right now.
Lord. Yeah.
2K, I've been running that a little bit.
Okay.
Madden's probably the game I played the most over
Yeah,
quarantine,
yeah.
and now I'm starting to get bored of that. So I'm just waiting for the next one to drop. And
Yeah.
played played a little Mortal Kombat, and
Okay. Okay.
a lot of respect to the people that are good at that game and don't button mash. Because I'm telling you, I played.
Uh,
I didn't even play on hard. I played on like the medium option,
right,
and
right.
I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
win a single game in my first 10 tries. it was
Well, I'm
it's
telling you,
it's
that
rough.
junk. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah, for
rough.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
and I think that's pretty much everything. But
Got
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. You bring up Mortal Kombat. I know, a mutual friend of ours, Cameron Brown, he's always into the Mortal Kombat kind of stuff. I have never really gotten interested in it because anybody that I have like went over to their house and they have the game, right? And they're like decent at the game. I've been able to either beat them or come very close to beating them with button mashing. And I'm like, if I can come close to beating you or beat you with button mashing, this game is garbage. Like there's no way I should be able to just spam combos, not knowing the characters at all and still beat you.
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
maybe I'm not playing the best of players. I get it. It's a different kind of video game. I'm just not super interested in the fighting. I probably will get back into it, or not back into it. I probably will get into it at a certain time, but not for now. Um, did you hear about the news with GTA? About the expanded and enhanced version coming out in November?
oh yeah. You know, at the same time, I'm excited for it. Like
Hmm.
I'm gonna play it regardless.
Right, right.
But it's like what we want. Like
Right,
just to
right,
keep
right, right.
working on six, bro.
Yeah,
Like
I hear you.
you can
I hear you.
enhance the game. That's great. You can add more oppressors to ruin the game
Right.
online or whatever you want to do. That's
Mhm.
cool, but it would like, dude, I was in what? I was in sixth grade,
Yeah.
2013. I was sixth, seventh grade when GTA 5 dropped. I'm
Right.
about to exit high school
Yeah.
and we're still on the same game.
Yeah.
So, I would really, really love a GTA 6 sometime soon. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
hear that. I hear that. I think I'm excited for the expanded and enhanced version of the game just because it will, from my knowledge, it will add another part of the map in GTA Online, which we've never seen before. So that's the reason I am excited for it. And then also it'll be optimized to play on the PS5 consoles, which you both have. So that will be better. I won't be playing on PS4 kind of graphics and all that. But I hear you, man. I think that that will be the biggest game of the decade again. If
Oh, yeah.
history repeats itself, GTA is continually being the biggest game and being the most sold um, every year, and it gets I think I was saying in another podcast, but the fact that it continues to sell more than the previous year each year that it is still in existence. So that to me is crazy. But yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. Hopefully they have all the licensing for like real world businesses, so I can
Hmm.
see, my actual Lamborghini tag on on my Lamborghini and things like that.
Yeah.
With the are you familiar with the RP world of GTA a little bit
A little,
or
I just found
okay.
out about it a little bit,
Okay.
like a
Yeah,
small
yeah,
amount.
yeah.
It seems
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting though. So,
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I like it just because it has more of um they made the cars basically how they look in real life. And so that's what I really like about it. And I hope that we're able to see kind of that implementation like they do in RP. But let's see, I was gonna touch on now when you play 2K, you're not really big on the park, right?
no.
That's not
Yeah.
yeah.
And that surprises a lot of people.
Hmm.
Personally, I love franchise, and that's like, to
Right.
most people, that's one
Yeah.
of the most boring things. But
Yeah.
making my own team, whether it's fantasy draft or having a regular team, and
Hmm.
working them up to win the title is fun to me.
Right,
Um,
right, yeah.
I
I
just
get it.
get to be in control of it. And online, at least I was never good on park. So it's just something I never went back to. But I
Uh,
respect y'all dudes out in the park, man. It's tough.
yeah,
Y'all gotta grind the character, you gotta
all
put
the
in the
time.
work. Me personally, I don't know. I don't know if that's meant for me. So, I just
Right.
just stick with my simple stuff. But yeah, I think eventually I do want to get into it a little bit, try to get better at it, hop online a little bit. But yeah, for right now, I'll probably just stick to my franchise and stuff like that.
Got you, man. Yeah. Hopefully, number one, hopefully 2K22 is pretty decent. I heard that 2K21 was pretty good. They, the
It's
new
solid.
parks and everything. I don't think that people were sorely disappointed with that game. So it seemed like it was a little bit of a rebound from 20, which I didn't think was great at all. But I definitely will probably be buying 22. I don't know if I can purchase 21 now just because it's like, I don't know if I want to pay $70 for a game and it's already been out
Yeah,
for, 7 months or whatever it is.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, hopefully video games are in a better spot at least by 2022. And then we'll be able to, that'll help me because that is solely my content. I can find my
Yeah.
new game. Hopefully Call of Duty will be good this year. I'm gonna try to get Battlefield, in the mix as well. But yeah, that is we'll see. Only time can tell, as I said before. But yeah, man, I want to say before we do go into the Cam cheat code, man, I appreciate you, taking the time out of your day to be on the podcast, man. I definitely does not go unnoticed. And yeah, I hit Colin up yesterday. We're recording this on a Thursday. I hit him up like Wednesday night. And I was like, yo, um, you want to do a podcast? And he was like, I got things to do because he's a busy man. I know. And I was like, man, I need somebody on this podcast. People are not gonna watch just me on this podcast again next week.
Oh man.
So we were able
No.
to make it work with your schedule and but I appreciate you opening up that time for Yeah, for the podcast, man. So
But on a serious note, man, those last two pods were good.
yeah,
Like
I
it,
appreciate it.
I get, people want to see things mixed up. You want to see guests and stuff, but
Hmm.
there was some real gems in those last couple podcasts.
Yeah, yeah,
You talked about, if it's all right, you talked about
yeah,
the
yeah.
the parasocial relationships.
Hmm.
Me personally, I guess, I have some people that really enjoy my content, and
Right.
they talk to me a lot. We
Hmm.
text back and forth,
Right, right, right.
in group chats with different people. But
Yeah.
it's just the factor of, I guess, I never realized, you have no clue about this person. Like,
Right.
you have absolutely no clue of who they are, what they do,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're about. So
Hmm.
just thinking that through, I was like, man, like that's
Yeah.
deep. And I know a lot of people that idolize, content creators,
Right.
celebrities, and
Hmm.
it. I don't know how they take it. It's good to, it's good to appreciate that person,
Right.
and, to a degree, really really enjoy what they do, communicate
Hmm.
with them. But at the end of the day, you don't know them. So
Right. Right.
it's
Yeah.
I think it can get unhealthy at times, the way
Mm,
we
for
stand
sure.
certain people. So yeah, I thought that was a dope thing to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was, I think people didn't click on it because they didn't know what a parasocial relationship was, which I'm not gonna front. I knew about the I knew about what a parasocial relationship was, but I didn't know the term of a parasocial relationship. So, I knew that, that kind of relationship between content creator and the viewer was getting a little kind of messy between content creators. I just didn't know that's what it was called. And so, I think it was basically like a TikTok that taught me that it was called a parasocial relationship. I did some research on it and then talked about it on the pod. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I do
Yeah,
appreciate you shouting out those other podcasts. And if you do want to take a listen to those are obviously still up. So if you made it through far, or if you made it through this far through this podcast, number one, I really appreciate you. But also go check out his brother's episode, Philip Hatfield's. I think it was like the definition of success. It was a really good episode. People
yeah,
really had some good feedback on that. And then also some of my personal podcasts where it's just me talking about some topics that you may or may not be interested in. I always have the topics listed out on my podcast. You can go in the description and you can basically just click the topic that you're interested in, and you can watch that portion of the podcast. And hopefully, we'll have some podcast clips channel coming for you here in the future. But your boys got a lot of stuff going, so hopefully we'll be
yeah.
able to get that out. But it'll come when it comes. Is what I'll say. But uh, getting back here to the Cam cheat code of the week. So, Colin, what is some advice that you would give towards, specifically, I know you are a fellow content creator. So what is some advice that you would give to those that are coming up in the content creation space? Maybe they're coming up in a sports related kind of page. Maybe they're coming up in a YouTube gaming, whatever you can speak to. But what would be your advice for those content creators out there that are listening to the podcast here?
um to everyone, I just say eliminate stress as much as possible. I feel like during this last year, things, they got to be a lot. I was
Mhm.
doing a lot of stuff for school, and stuff that was more so me going a little bit extra, just trying to make sure it's good,
Right, right.
it's to a good standard. And
Mhm.
then, you've got your classes. I was trying to create a video twice a week, a
Mhm.
regular post 2 times a week,
Yeah.
something on TikTok. And, to do all that, there'll be nights, where I don't really get up from the space where I was working till like 7 o'clock.
Right.
So it was
Man.
just, I just had to find a better way to, manage all that. And for
Mhm.
me, everyone's different, but for me, it was planning. Even this summer, for the most part, except for, days like this where there's something different, something that comes, a little
Right.
bit differently.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for the
yeah.
most part, I know what I'm going to be doing every time of the day. And
Mhm.
for some people, that's like, yo, you plan out your
Yeah.
days in the summer. Who does
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
For me, it works.
Yeah,
I
gotta
don't
find
feel
what
like
works.
I can do everything I need to do in a day if I get up at like 1 o'clock.
Right.
That's just it just doesn't
Mhm.
work for me. I feel
Yep.
like I got too much I need to do before I go to bed.
Mhm.
So just for me, it's planning. For you, it could be non-planning.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just that simple. For you, it could be not stressing yourself out by planning, just
Mhm.
going with the flow of the day. But for
Mhm.
me, it's planning, trying to keep everything light and positive,
Right.
and eliminating stress as much as possible. Because either you're gonna do good at something or you're gonna fail. It's just that simple.
Right.
No need to bring in the pressure of trying to please certain people,
Mm.
or
The big one.
trying to yeah or trying to sometimes over please yourself. I'd say you just gotta
Mhm.
you gotta for me eliminate stress. That's the biggest key in life right now, so just trying
Yeah.
to keep things light always.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's I think that's definitely key. Something I'm even learning to do, that there's so much going on and even without COVID, there's so much going on in the world and so much that we are tasked with stuff to complete, especially as content creators. And if we're trying to think about all those kind of things, if I'm trying to think of, I got to create the clips channel, I got to create all these other channels, I got to create a video, I got to create a TikTok, a Twitter post, Instagram post. I'm thinking about all those things. I'm not going to get any of it done.
Yeah,
The number one thing, for me as well, it works for me as well as you is planning and saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna get out today. If I can't get it out today, then we need to reassess the time management. And obviously this takes longer. Or was I procrastinating? Was I, not using that time wisely? Um,
yeah,
but I think something that you said, I think you indirectly said it, but people don't realize the amount of time that we take on the work that we create, even though we don't have that many followers, you know? And I think it can be appreciated sometimes, but almost not enough to the extent of how much work we put in, and I think that will come in
exactly.
with time, that will come
Yeah,
with time because you can't expect somebody to really realize. But even me, I see your posts, and I am like, okay, this is a post. He knows a lot about basketball. This is probably pretty easy for him to, get out, right? But then when I actually take the time to like read, what you've actually wrote out and watch the full video of you talking and analyzing these teams and players, I'm like, man, that didn't just come off the dome. This man sat
yeah,
down. This man did his research. Even though he knows a whole bunch about the game, is way more educated than people that I know that have been watching it for 40 years. He still did his research and his due diligence to make sure he gave the best content to his subscribers and followers. And I think that will mean the most to people in the long run. So
for
I
sure.
definitely want to say that I see you and keep that going, man. Um,
Yeah, thank
but
you, thank you.
the yeah, man, that's gonna wrap it up for the this podcast, man. Again, thank you, Mr. TBT Collin, man.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate you taking the time. And I'm gonna let you say anything to the podcast if you got any wrap up comments, and also make sure to tell the people where they can find you on social media. You can go ahead.
All right. All right. Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to say once again, Cam, thanks for letting me be on the pod. And
Absolutely.
y'all, I think you heard him talk about, the time that we put into it. And for the most part, we don't talk about it. You
Hmm.
just kind of keep moving.
Right,
So,
right.
from me to you, I know you got a good fan base growing. We appreciate your content as well. We
Hmm.
realize, you got more outside of YouTube and stuff that you're working on, and
Right.
school, work, all that stuff. We miss the streams, but you got more important stuff to take care of. So
Yeah,
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 we
yeah.
appreciate your content as well. And once again, thank you. And you can find me on Instagram at tbt.talkz, and
Mm.
then you can find me on TikTok at tbt.x. So thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and for those that, didn't get that, from him saying it. They will all those links will be down in the description. So you can go ahead and click on those. There'll be direct links to all of his social media. So definitely go check my man's out. Man, that's gonna do it for the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed this having a guest on. I know it's not just me talking. I had some conversation here. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you're new, definitely give us some feedback on the podcast. Give us some, if you're into basketball, give us your take of your favorite player. Give us the take of who's going to win the finals, and engage with whatever other topics that we talked about, that you had some input on. Definitely put those down in the comments. But with all that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.